Hey guys, welcome back. Thanks for tuning back in. Guys, I have an interesting topic for this video. Look, think about this. What's after high school? Well, I'll tell you boys, high school never ends, okay? It doesn't. And think back, right? Really remember when you guys were going through high school, whether it was recent or not, what did you guys experience? Did you guys see any toxicity? Did you guys experience it? Right? Did you see any bullying? Did you see any, ostracizing? Right? Cliques and everything like that. When I was going through high school, I graduated back in 2016. When I was, piggybacking Moses all the way to Mount Sinai. I saw quite a bit of that, a little bit of a personal experience here. There was a group, right, in the cafeteria, and I think it was one of those days where I was kind of going back and forth between different groups, and I had sat down with them, and I guess, one of them decided that he kind of wanted to pick on me and make fun of me. I wasn't really the one to mess with that day because I was clapping back at him and making fun of him, and his friends really took a liking to me because they were eating that shit up. So he didn't really pick on me after that, which is why defending yourself, whether verbally or physically, really is advantageous for you to learn. So that's why I always tell you guys, look, learn boxing. Learn boxing and get this right, because if you don't, you're going to be an easy target, right? Whether it's someone who wants to bully you, or it's Yogi Bear coming to get that pick in the basket. So you're going through high school and you're thinking, man, this fucking place is toxic, man. I just want to graduate. And then you go and you graduate, and then, you realize that it's the same way, in college, people are still in their cliques, they're still ostracizing, they're still bullying, they're still so advantageous to people who don't think like them, right? That was the same way for me too, and then after a semester and joining the Air Force, basic military training was exactly the same way, right? There was this kid that, I kind of felt bad for, because I don't think he was really all there. He got through basics, so, it seems like he was fine. But the shit that he would say would make you think that, how did you get through MEPS? One day I was talking about my little sister, and I was telling them that, she was premature birth, of about 3 months. And this guy said, "Oh yeah, well, that ain't nothing, man. I was born 9 months premature." And then out of just pure dumbfoundedness, all of us looked at each other for a couple of seconds, didn't respond to it, and then all of us in unison, we gave each other the look like, what the fuck did he just say? So for the rest of basic military training, we were dogging on this guy, right? And look, this was the kind of guy that was trying to pick up chicks talking about taxes. So come on, baby, we're gonna file some taxes tonight, if you know what I mean. So yeah, so then I got out into the real Air Force, right? And exactly the same way, people in their cliques, right? I was definitely a little socially awkward, so getting into a new country, you don't know anybody, right? Well, you hardly know anybody, and all these people are so different from you, so there's going to be some conflict in fitting in, right? And I was, at that time, I was kind of one of those guys who tried harder than what I should have to fit in. And I learned that lesson because, people just didn't like me. I had to accept that fact that people just aren't going to like you. You could be Jesus Christ himself. I'm not religious, but you could be Jesus Christ himself, and people are still not going to like you. Right? So, anyways, I saw the cliques there too, the toxicity of people not fitting particularly into that clique, and so, and that was for the rest of my time in. And it didn't really take me too long after that I began to realize that there's a pattern here, And, there's a reason for that pattern. Listen, guys, so it's human nature, right, to look for comfort, to look for like-mindedness, to look for compassion, a unit, a cohesive unit, a belonging to, right? The reason for that is because it was a surefire way for someone to survive, right? When we were evolving, right, and we started to collect into tribes, we had to find people who acted and thought exactly like we did, because it was the best option for survival, So, the thing about that though is that that's gonna create tension too, right? Because when a lot of nations began to trade, right, obviously wars sprung up from that. One of the most famous is Rome and Carthage, right? It's a historical, right, reference point of, look, you had these nations that were trading with one another, right? But the cultural differences, right, are those that can create such a conflict to where such violence arises, right? And bullying and ostracizing and picking on each other, that's a part of that. Not as extreme as war, right? But it's all still the same principle. You understand that all throughout history this has happened, right? I always like to point to Golden Boy, the book, of course the movie, guess. Man, Patrick Swayze, man, get you a little steamy. So, Dirty Dancing. And in the book you have your two groups, right, that are always at each other's throats. The preps, right, the preppers, and then you have the greasers, right? And that's it. It's a really good example to show just how different someone can be, right? And what comes from that, right? Now, really good thing about America is that it is a melting pot. It really is. It's and that's why it's so beautiful, and we've come to progress so far, right, in the time that we have. The thing about that though is that conflict can arise from that just as much, right? And the toxicity that we find ourselves in today, that's all the more true, right? It also doesn't help that our politicians are pushing all kinds of divisiveness, amongst race, gender, and religious backgrounds, whatnot. But you understand that kind of division and conflict can arise naturally anyways. So I mean, it's really no wonder why, so many people are fighting amongst themselves today, especially resources, I mean, that's always been a thing too, right? But the main point to take away from this topic is that, humanity has always looked for a tribe, right? And a tribe to belong to, right? A tribe that thinks and acts exactly as they do, right? Unfortunate as it is, right? There is an understanding behind it, and survival was, the forethought, because where people act and do the same things, right, in a specific tribe, there's no fighting amongst themselves. There's always this cohesiveness to push forward to, ensure that everyone was going to get those resources, right? So, and that's always been a thing, right? We see all kinds of wars spring up from cultural differences. You just have to look into history. There's evidence everywhere of it, right? And high school is definitely not as extreme, but it is an example, right? And that's why high school never ends, because it's human nature to fight amongst ourselves, right? Because of these cultural differences. So, but yeah, that's pretty much it, So, guys, if this was insightful for you, please consider subscribing, right? I'd really appreciate it. Also, leave a like, and please, I mentioned it earlier. I want to know what you guys are thinking. I want to know, your experiences, your stories. Please, I read the comments, and I reply to them. I want to continue to build this community, right? Though I don't think that this kind of trait is something that we can really mend. It's a trait that's been ingrained in us for so long. I don't know if that can happen, but let me know your thoughts. Perhaps that's something that we can do, it's something that we can talk about, right, and bring to light and try to mend, but I don't think that that's the case. But like I said, let me know what you guys are thinking. That being said, we are kind of on time, it's about 13 minutes long. So, thanks for tuning in, guys. As always, look, work on yourselves, okay? Improve yourselves, take care of yourselves, take care of each other. The reason I tell you guys to work out, right, and work on your mentality, is because, just like I was talking about people fighting over cultural differences and just maybe resources differences in general, you have to be able to defend yourself, right? The animal will always do what it can to preserve its own life, right? And training, right, not just training of the body, but training of the mind is what helps you to preserve your own life, right? So do yourselves a favor and do your due diligence, right? And help yourselves that way. So I've already put a video out there of how to get started in the gym, right? It's not going to be too long before I put out another video about the dietary. But do yourselves a favor and take care of yourselves, all right? Take care of each other, as I said, and leave a like and subscribe as well. It helps to spread this message. If it's not liked, if you guys aren't subscribing, YouTube downplays the video, content is sent out into the ether. And we kind of don't want that. We want to make sure that this conversation is out there for everyone to see. So that being said, guys, appreciate you guys tuning in. For those of you who watched to the end, you guys are the real ones. Thank you so much. And as always, boys, I'll see you next one.